Hey guys, I'm back with another video for you today to talk to you about some alternatives to three really awesome fragrances that I think deserve to be in your collection. And if you can't find the original fragrances, these alternatives are going to be perfect for you. One of the fragrances that I'm going to talk to you about is one of my all-time favorite fragrances. I was saddened that it actually got discontinued, but I've come across a really awesome alternative for it. Smells really, really close. If you've been looking for it, this is the fragrance you're going to want to find out about. But we've got three fragrances here that are discontinued and three awesome alternatives for them. And this is the kind of world we live in these days. Fragrances do get discontinued, unfortunately. And if you are in love with a fragrance, you really do love it, keep checking to make sure that it's not discontinued, or if you hear a rumor or something that you think is going to get discontinued, get yourself your backup bottle. But if you're not in that position, I've got some, like I said, really great alternatives here that are also really inexpensive. Now, normally I don't do videos of fragrances that are considered dupes, and these are a little dupe-like fragrances, but I do have exceptions to the rule, because sometimes when fragrances are completely discontinued and I really enjoy it and I can't find an alternative for it, I do look into brands that create dupe fragrances. So the first fragrance that's discontinued that I'm going to talk to you about is from Christian Dior, or Dior's Feve Delicieuse. This fragrance was one of my all-time favorite fragrances from the Dior Privé collection. I loved it as soon as I smelled it. It was one of the best Tonka bean-focused fragrances. It was gourmand, for sure. It was a bit nutty because it is Tonka beans after all. It's vanillic, it's ambery, it's also aromatic, and it's a bit fruity and fully powdery. So it's a really, really great fragrance. But yeah, it got discontinued. It was on the chopping block for a long time, and then I heard the rumors. People at the department stores were saying it's going to get discontinued. And, it took a while, but eventually it went away. But I've got a great alternative from the house of Athena. Athena is a brand that I've spoken about. They're from Egypt. This is Tonka Noir. So I've been testing this one out. It's also super potent, but really, really close to how Feve Delicieuse smells. It starts off a little different, but once it settles, it comes really, really close to smelling like Feve Delicieuse, and I love that experience. Again, if you've been watching my channel for the last 10 years, this channel of mine is 10 years old last month. I started doing YouTube videos on another channel in 2012, so I've been doing them for over 13 years. But if you've been watching for the last 10 years, I spoke a lot about Feve Delicieuse. It launched around 2014, so it was a favorite of mine. But now you've got this great alternative in Tonka Noir. Now, early on in my previous channel, I also spoke a lot about Van Cleef & Arpels Midnight in Paris. Here's the bottle right here with the name on it, and this gorgeous bottle, as you can see. So we've got the Eau de Toilette here, and this is the Eau de Parfum. So Midnight in Paris was definitely a favorite of mine. But as soon as I got on the scene, it was already on the chopping block, and it got discontinued. And so what I liked about it was, first of all, it was kind of similar to me to Bulgari's Black, which is also the discontinued fragrance. It's his Bulgari fragrance. That was a bit more leathery, like a leathery, rubbery, smoky thing. Here, I felt like even though it went leathery with Midnight in Paris, I felt like it was a little bit lighter with the leather and a bit more gourmand. Both of the fragrances, both Bulgari Black and Midnight in Paris, features tea. So it's got this kind of tea smoothness, coziness, along with nuttiness of almonds, vanilla, and then you've got the leather in it. It's a fragrance I enjoyed. In fact, these are my bottles, plus I have backup bottles of both the EDT and the EDP. And again, as I said, these came in the most gorgeous bottles. As you can see, Midnight in Paris was great. And Van Cleef & Arpels, when I first got on the scene of doing videos, had a lot of fragrances in the signature collection. Now they're all about the collection extraordinaire. But if you are looking for an alternative to Midnight in Paris, Royal Opera is a really, really great alternative. To me, it also feels a little bit closer to the Eau de Toilette version in comparison to the Eau de Parfum version. The Eau de Parfum version was a bit stronger with the intensity, of course, and also a bit more leathery. And Eau de Toilette was a bit fresher, which is what I get with Royal Opera. There's a citrusy freshness up top when you first experiencing the fragrance. Eventually, it becomes a little more potent. You start experiencing the almonds, the vanilla, the tea, of course, and eventually becomes leathery. A really awesome fragrance. If you've been looking for an alternative, I think an alternative for Midnight in Paris, especially the Eau de Toilette, or just in general, I think if you want to experience what Midnight in Paris was all about, Athena's Royal Opera, I think, is a great alternative or dupe for it. And then last but not least, we've got this really awesome private blend collection fragrance. And this one I've spoken about on the channel before. This is Tom Ford's Plum Japonais. Many of you, a lot of you have been asking or thinking this might come back as a signature line. And I've spoken to a few sales associates or not executives, but like reps for the Estee Lauder. They've mentioned to me that this would never come back. I think it's one of the things that they had mentioned, it was too expensive. The formula became too expensive, and that was one of the reasons why it got discontinued. But they also mentioned if it ever came back, it would be in that very high-end collection of private blend collection fragrances that retail for around $1,900, $1,800, $2,000 in the private blend 250 ml bottles. So very, very pricey. And yeah, it's definitely one of the best from Tom Ford. I enjoyed the different notes together with this fragrance. It was, it was very interesting because it's got a lot of plums, but there's also ambery resinous touches here. There's a little bit of oud. There's the pine note in here. So a really unique combination of notes together to create really one of the best fragrances, I think, from Tom Ford's private blend collection. I went through a whole 250 ml bottle of this. And this was early on, like in 2013, like really, really early on. I had decanted some of them and sold to a few folks as well. But I ran out of my bottle and never had a bottle for a long time until somebody was selling this bottle, and I was so happy to get it. But if you're looking for a alternative or a dupe for Plum Japonais, it's really tough to find and very expensive. Smoky Plum is definitely the fragrance that you're going to need to want to get. All three of these fragrances from Athena are 100 ml, $65. Eau de Parfum concentration, so very, very inexpensive. And, they're replicating expensive. Well, I should say the Midnight in Paris wasn't that expensive because it was a regular signature line fragrance. But the Dior Feve Delicieuse and the Plum Japonais were part of the higher-end collection of fragrances from the designers, so they were more expensive. And you've got these really great prices, 100 ml for $65 for these alternatives to three very well-known fragrances. And I think they're totally worth having in your collection if you've been looking for them. So let me give you a little bit more details about Feve Delicieuse and its alternative Tonka Noir. Remember I said as soon as you spray Tonka Noir, it's a little different than reminding me of Feve Delicieuse, but then as it's drying down, it becomes so close, I couldn't tell them apart. And it's a great thing because I always have enjoyed Feve Delicieuse. It's an awesome gourmand fragrance, one of the best that Francois Demachet had created for Dior. But I don't understand why this. I thought it was very popular. I mean, I'm assuming whenever I'd speak about it in a video, there would be comments galore coming in. And so I don't understand why they got discontinued, but I guess it was not a profitable thing for them. And this is what happens with discontinuation. Sadly, you just can't expect a fragrance to stick around or stay around for the rest of your life, kind of a thing. So as I was saying, if you are a fan of something, you're obsessed with it, get yourself a bottle, keep it as a backup. You never know what's going to happen. But sure, there have been fragrances that have lasted forever. Like one of my all-time favorite fragrances, Noir, launched in 1982, still around. You know, they're still making it. So there are those, cases or situations, but also throughout the decades, the reformulations kind of get noticeable. After a while, the fragrances don't start smelling similar. But with the case of Feve Delicieuse, it was launched in 2014 for the first time. It was reformulated in 2018, I believe. But here, with Tonka Noir, oh my God, so close, so identical, so delicious. Really love that about it. But as far as the notes breakdown go, it's tonka, vanilla, caramel, pralines, cacao, lavender, milk, benzoin, cherries, amber, sandalwood, floral notes, and musk. Who's a fan of the OG Feve Delicieuse? Let me know. Add a comment below. I'd like to find out if you guys are fans. And again, Tonka Noir, such a great alternative for Feve D. Really, really great, you guys. If you haven't tried it, definitely do. In fact, it's strange because what I noticed when I was testing out Tonka Noir, I felt it was super potent and overwhelming. So the way they've made it is so strong. Don't spray too much. It's really, really potent and very long lasting, and it can totally come off overwhelming when let's say if you're an oversprayer, you're not doing 2 or 3 or 4 sprays, you're doing like 10. This will really, really overwhelm. And here I am smelling the 2 strips together. The Feve D smells a lot weaker than the Tonka Noir, which is kind of a great thing because you're getting this potent form of Feve Delicieuse in only a $65 fragrance. But let's move on to the Royal Opera next. A great alternative to, I think, the Eau de Toilette version of Midnight in Paris. And let me know if you guys wore this one. I know this got discontinued quite a while ago. I think this is discontinued around 2015. So it's been 10 years for this one to have come and gone. I'm going to spray the Eau de Toilette version. And then we've got the Royal Opera. I like that name. Midnight in Paris always reminded me of that Woody Allen film, Midnight in Paris. But once again, I feel like the Royal Opera is a lot more potent than the Midnight in Paris. Maybe my bottle is older, but when I was wearing Midnight in Paris, I always felt like they were on the light side. They were not like super oomphy fragrances. And what Athena has done with these fragrances is create some more potent takes on the original DNA of the fragrances. But what I like about it is tea, first of all. If you like tea fragrances, you're going to enjoy this because that's what's running the show. There's Tonka in here as well. And Tonka and almonds kind of go hand in hand. They kind of are kind of similar, but not quite. To me, Tonka does taste like bitter almonds. But here we have mate tea. We've got Tonka beans, almonds, benzoin, lily of the valley, lemons, rosemary, and leather. Yeah, it does get leathery after a while. In the dry down, it's getting leathery. But the benzoin is providing its kind of vanillic touches. So you do have a vanillic quality. And then also you got that citrusy quality as well. And I think, not that they smell alike, the experience is kind of like Habit Rouge Eau de Toilette, where when you compare it to the EDP, it's not as lemony. Here I'm getting a pretty prominent lemony experience. It's a bit fresher up top when you're spraying it. But eventually it progresses and gets deeper. You experience the Tonka, you experience the almonds, you experience the benzoin, and then eventually you get the leather as well. So a really awesome recreation of Midnight in Paris. This is Royal Opera. And then last but not least, we are talking about Smoky Plum, and I'm going to keep it quick with this one because I've already spoken about it. But if you are in the market for a alternative to Plum Japonais, Smoky Plum is definitely ideal for that. Again, for $65, these fragrances are inexpensive. But what's in the notes breakdown for Smoky Plum? We've got plums, cinnamon, saffroline, oud, vanilla, smoke, amber, cognac, cypress, and immortelle. So that's the notes breakdown for this fragrance. And to me, this does remind me of Plum Japonais. I don't think it's identical, but it comes really, really super close. Super close. Let me go ahead and spray my OG as well. I don't want to use up too much of my OG. There's the, I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, very, very close, very close. What I like about it, it gets smoky. Yeah, it's fruity and also smoky, so there's a smokiness. The only thing I think I would notice differences is I feel like the Smoky Plum, the plum is a bit juicier. and the Plum Japonais is a bit less fruity because the juiciness of the plum is making it fruitier for me. But still very, very close. And that is Smoky Plum. And let me know your thoughts on the fragrances of Athena, guys. Were you a fan of Feve Delicieuse? If you were, definitely check out Tonka Noir. Really, really great alternative. And of course, if you are a fan of the Midnight Paris fragrances, definitely check out Royal Garden. And add a comment below and let me know your thoughts. What kind of discontinued fragrances were your favorites, and what were you looking for as alternatives for, like if you have a favorite fragrance that was discontinued and you haven't been able to find an alternative, do let us know. Add a comment below so I can recommend additional fragrances if I can find alternatives for them. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and also please click the bell icon so you'll be notified for future videos. And also please give a thumbs up to this video so that it'll help with the algorithm. Anyway, see you guys later. Bye-bye.